Hello and welcome, everybody. It is our author showcase. This is our June monthly author showcase. I am so excited that you have all joined us for today's event. We are broadcasting live, but you may also be watching a recording of this. So whether you are with us live or in the recording, I want you to know that this is going to be a special event where you will have the opportunity to meet 15 what we call incubated authors. And I want to take just a minute to share with you before we start and as people are gathering what I mean by incubated author. As you may know, my name is Dr. Angela Loria. I am the CEO and the founder of the Author Incubator. And my career in books started long, long ago in 1994. And in the first 20 years that I was working in the book industry, what I found was that authors were so often alone. They weren't part of a community. They had support from either an agent or an editor, sometimes both, but it was a very lonely sort of support. And when you are in an incubator, there are many chicks and some girls and some boys, but there are many baby eggs and they're together. And that's the thing that is so special, I think, about the author incubator is that our authors are nurtured and taken care of the way that you would be by an editor or an agent or a manager, but they also have each other. They have community. They have we call it a cohort. Maybe you could think of it as a litter, but they have siblings, brother and sister books that are born and shared at the same time. And that, I think, has been the secret to our success and why our authors are so much more successful than authors with any other publisher or book coach. So book coaches don't tend to publish their success rates, but usually if you hire a book coach or even an editor, you've got about a 20% chance of getting your book finished. Our numbers are much higher, very close to 100%, in the high 98, low 99% percentile. And that's because of our amazing team and our amazing process, but mostly it's because of the amazing community. And I'm so excited to share that community with you today, at least 15 members of this incredible community. Some of them have released a new ebook and it's just coming on the market. They'll get feedback and develop and build momentum for that book over this year. Some of them are at the end of having their book out for a year and they are in that last phase of releasing their audiobook. They've really gone through a year-long journey with their book, and you're going to get to see both sides of that coin. What is it like to just be releasing your book? What's it like to have your book out there for a year? It's never been so clear that the world right now is desperate for healing, for transformation, and more than anything, for community. For really seeing each other and recognizing the light and the fire and the spark and the power that we see in others, because that helps us see it in ourselves. So I hope that's what will happen for you today. We're inviting you in. You're going to be a cozy little part of our community for the next hour, hour and a half or so. And in that time, maybe you'll get some ideas, an idea for a book, an idea for how you want to make a difference, an idea for how you can bring your light, the light of hope and healing and transformation to the world the way these authors have done and are doing. I will say we would love for you to download these books. And on this screen, as you scroll down, you'll see a couple things. You will see the link. It'll say click to download the book or click to get the book or click to buy the book here. So you'll see the link to get each of these books. All of the ebooks we've been able to make free for you on Amazon today, but you have to get them today if you're watching the recording. I'm not sure if they'll still be free, but click the link anyway. So that is the deal with the books. You can get them from that link. You will also see a way to connect directly with the authors. So if any of these authors have a message that resonates with you or someone you know, go ahead and look for them below. You might see their email address or a way to get a small gift from them, a link to their website. And that is for every author. So track down these authors. They may actually change your life. So if you are somebody who has been thinking about writing a book, maybe even spending some time trying to figure out what your book is about, you'll be excited. The first authors we're going to meet got their book done in just a few months, and you can do this too. It's more important than ever that whatever your, my client Rachel Talton calls this your God job, whatever your mission is from source on this planet, that you identify that mission and that you live into it. And that's what these authors are doing. That's what brings us close, regardless of whatever social distancing policy is out there. So I've got some two-time authors working on their second book. I've got some audiobook authors. I've got ebook authors, first-time authors. You're going to meet them all. You'll hear about their books. When you feel that spark ignite in you, make sure you get their books, but make sure you're also checking in with yourself. Is this the time for you to create like these authors have? So with that, I am ready to get rocking and rolling. I hope you are too. If you see the chat box, go ahead and just put directly in the chat box. You can send this to all panelists or all panelists and attendees. I just want to see that you are ready. Just say, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear it. I'm ready. Let's go. I want to make sure that I've got your attention and that you are ready to connect with some of these authors. If you're watching this on video, I know you're probably not be able to chat me, but I will feel your energy. So, all right. Well, first up is the author of her second book with us. This book is called The New Management Blueprint: Spark Talent to Ignite Winning Teams and Create Valuable Results. Michelle Hoffman. Hello, Michelle.
Well, hello, Dr. Angela Lauria. I absolutely love that you're talking about sparking the light and bringing in the light of hope and transformation.
I feel like I'm stealing from you. I didn't mean to, but it's in the air. That's your, tell me what your little moniker is. The spark.
That's just the thing. People are calling me the Light the Spark Lady.
You're the Light the Spark Lady. Every time I see that, I'm like, that is so what the world needs now.
It's perfect. So here's my second book, The New Management Blueprint: Spark Talent to Ignite Winning Teams and Create Valuable Results. And it's all about everything that you're talking about that the whole world needs right now.
So tell us about the book. Who is it for? Why did you write it? How have you been putting it out there? And what are your plans for the book?
I'm very, very excited about the opportunities that this book is opening up. I help business owners, high impact CEOs, HR managers, anyone who's in charge of ensuring that the management in the organization is increasing employee engagement, developing strong teams that excel at peak performance, who can nimbly navigate complex variables. There's so much change management happening right now in the corporate world. And I realize that where I can make the biggest impact in the world, especially during this changing world time, is that I can help companies achieve the big results that they're looking for while the CEOs, at the same time, I can give them the freedom to remain in their zone of genius and make sure their management and the management teams are being the showcase employees, meeting all the key performance indicators they were hoping for.
What's changed in business in the last 3 months? It's been about 3 months that many businesses have moved to a work from home situation. How do you think that's changed between increasing number of people working from home, increasing unemployment rates, so totally different labor market than there's been? What are some of the changes you're seeing out there?
So you've hit a couple of the high points, but here's the reality of it. Even before this pandemic in the world occurred, there was only about 70% employee engagement happening. And, that's not for lack of trying. It's just a matter of fact of how engaged employees are. And that's literally costing, millions and billions of dollars, depending on the size of the organization. And I could narrow that down to basically organizations are losing $3,400 in every $10,000 of salary they're spending. So to then have a workforce who's suddenly working remotely, they don't have that office engagement, the office support, the meetings that happen, not only the structure, the content, but the context of that's happening in a meeting. Also, what happens organically when there's communications that go sidebar communications, reassuring that you've got this. Remote employees don't have the luxury of those non-project related communications and conversations with their peers, which then engages support and collaboration in events. 10 years ago, we were talking about how we need to do more with less. And now we need to do so much more with so much less. Meanwhile, these employees are working remotely. They're working in their living rooms. They may have roommates, spouses. They might also
Children.
They might need to homeschool their kids, suddenly
Right.
become teachers and entertainers. The living room is also the gym, the entertainment center. They have cute animals that are like, ooh, you're staying home. How do you then increase engagement and focus to get the work done?
I love that. Well, you have provided some guidelines with the new management blueprint. Before I let you go, I can't miss the opportunity to ask this. You've done 2 books with us. We've worked together for almost a year and a half now. Are there any things that you would like to share if somebody's thinking about working with the author incubator, about whether or not this has been a good experience, and any advice you might share with someone?
Yeah, it's super, there are some situations where the path that you're looking for opens up and there's a clear light shining on it. I wanted to write a book. I knew there was a book in me that needed to come out. It was my legacy, my first book, Life Worth Living. It needed to be written. It was the guide I didn't have. So I thought about this and realized, well, I've got some pretty advanced business degrees, but I don't necessarily have an English degree. And social media is a whole new world. So what's that? 3 or 4 more educations that I could then invest in myself to get the education to actually write an effective book that will make a difference in the world. And then when I found the author incubator, what I learned is that's where the clear path with the light shining on it really is, because it's exactly what you need. It's a precision tool for the job. That's what I found in the author incubator, and so much more. There's guidance, and you can accomplish so much more with a really strong coach so much faster than if you try to figure it out yourself. I found a community that I never would have found, this powerhouse of people who can actually manifest change in the world. There's an incredible resource of experts who are editors who, oh my gosh, if I didn't have my developmental and managing editors who I did.
Any shout outs you want to do there?
Yes, I do. I've got Mariah Howe and Bethany Davis and Aura. If I had not participated in the author incubator, I would have written the wrong book. It would have been a really hard road for me. So, and Dr. Angela Loria, no matter what, you have the skill set to tell us what we need to hear, even if it's hard, because you're guiding us along the road. Again, a precision tool for the job. This is what you need to know. You don't need to go off and learn these other things. This is what you need to know. It makes it a very clear path. It's a very straight path. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited about your book. Let's show people the cover one more time.
Yeah, I'm so excited
The
to.
link below, the new management blueprint, spark talent to ignite winning teams and create valuable results. Michelle Hoffman.
Whoop, whoop. Thank you so much for everything, Angela.
You are welcome. Our next author is back with her second book as well. This book is called Love Avatar: Unleash Your Divine Feminine Superpowers and Awaken the Goddess Within. I think the earth has awakened the goddess within. Please welcome Lord Coltrane. Hello.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I so appreciate everyone. And I'm just going to say, whatever Michelle said, it was perfect. The whole thing was absolutely perfect. So I don't even know if I need to say a word.
Well, first we have to talk about your book, though. What a powerful time to write a book about divine feminine energy. I think there's a lot of, might be Kali energy, but I think there is a lot of divine feminine energy springing up in the world. I think we've seen a lot of that in the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
The earth has found its love avatar. What's happening?
Yeah, so I wrote this book precisely for this reason. There is not enough pure, good, unconditional loving, fierce loving, and consciousness in the world right now. We are being narrated by an unconscious patriarchal system. And my belief is the more every woman actually wakes up to the divine essence in her own body, she can activate it for the men in this world that are unconscious. There are definitely a lot of men that are elevated. And this is an energy, not a biology. So I just want to make that clear. It's an energy that is so the feminine divine energy is so powerful that we can create. It's about creation. It's about loving. We can create the new world that we are all desperate for. And it starts really right here. Your business, your job, your love needs to be completely aligned with who you really are. And that is a divine, feminine woman, goddess, who has incredible superpowers, including, as you mentioned, Kali energy, which is fierce, destructible, ego-slaying love.
We're getting a lot of that.
Yeah.
Your book has been in pre-order. It's been in the works for a couple of months now. Who's gravitating towards this message?
I think that the person who's gravitating to this message is that woman who is, so far, the woman who is kind of on pause. She's self-actualized, like she knows what she wants to do in the world. She has experience in relationships, but there's that pearl of wisdom, that very essence of power, empowerment, and the ability to empower others that is held back a little bit by not actually knowing and being completely aligned with the divinity within, completely aligned with her own desires. But I'm talking about higher desires, not physical desire, not material desires, of the desire to create new worlds, to create solutions to problems. And so she's on pause right now. And I'm not going to say stuck because it's a higher version. She's on pause because she has no role model for this incredible powerhouse. I keep saying powerhouse, but I mean love powerhouse. I don't mean anything aggressive. So she's waiting for that permission to unleash her superpowers and stand in her own essence. So that's basically everyone now, because we are faced with such injustice in the world, and we really need to be aligned with ourselves before we can actually act out and understand the truth of who we are to express and support what is needed right now in the world.
Yeah, so true. Awakening the God and goddess within. We are all being called to that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You have been around the block. We've worked together for a while too. Like Michelle, any thoughts on the author incubator you would want to share with somebody who's thinking about working with us or doing a book with us, or maybe doing a book on their own?
Yes. So I think it's really important to have support behind you, a tribe behind you. And if you are confused by what you want to write, that pure essence of what you want to write, the author incubator and Angela, you help so much have the clarity of our message for this moment. I remember thinking, I have 5 books and I want to cram it into one, but that doesn't actually help our readers. It doesn't actually help people. What is necessary is a very clear, focused message to that one person that we want to talk to. And that has helped me be absolutely clear about this one particular book, because I have many. And it also, the author incubator also, like Michelle said, it allows us to swim in the soup or be in the soup of incredible beings and incredible humans who actually want to create and who actually want to serve people in a way. It's not an ego-based place. I feel like it's very much in service. And supersonic writing habits. Like you offer supersonic writing habits. My situation personally, I had personal disasters in my home, and then COVID hit, and then this disaster in humanity hit. And really, if I didn't have those very, very, very basic and important habits, training habits, writing habits, I don't know when I would have written this second book. So yeah. I'm grateful for that.
But you got it done. Amazing. And more books to come. I love that we create book addicts here. So yeah. Whether it's those of you who are reading and you can read Love Avatar by clicking the link below, or those of you who are writing, very few people end up just writing one book. So Love Avatar, unleash your divine feminine superpowers and awaken the goddess within. Amazing cover. It's so good. Thank you, Lord Coulter.
Thank you so much.
One of the things that is so fun at the Author Incubator is watching how our authors evolve, how they go from their first book to their second book, their messages evolve, their voice evolves, and in so many ways, they become the person they imagined themselves being one day in just a year, an evolution that might have taken 10 years. That's the power of writing a book. One of my authors told me when he released his book, all of that work was gone and it created space for new work to come in. And maybe you've been doing that. Maybe you have ideas you've been spinning in your head for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years. When you get them down on paper and put them out, it's like it frees up space for new books to come in. And I've certainly seen that evolution in our next author. She is the author of Your Script for Intimacy, Fix Your Marriage and Your Sex Life, Petra Freeze. Petra, I am so excited to talk to you today. Book number 2, you made it. Tell us about this book, and if you have it, show it to people.
Hello.
Hello. So good. But I see book number 1 on the wall back there too. So nice.
So right, and this is book number 2.
And the first book was Your Script for Hope. This is Your Script for Intimacy. I sense a series coming on.
Yeah.
Tell us about Your Script for Intimacy. What's this book about?
This book is about relationship and sexuality, and it's for the people who struggle and think they are hopeless and helpless in their relationship, and they don't know where to start. And it's, as you mentioned, it's serious, and it is sparking the hope for people that they can create their dream marriage. And I think this is so important, that we become aware of the power we have within us, the power of our mind, and using that for our relationship and also in our sex life. So usually people don't get in touch with me and say, hey, I have sexual issues. This is not how it works. Usually it's another topic they struggle with. And then we find out that the marriage and the sex life might be the reason for all the issues they have in life. And when we start at that point and solving those issues, then the entire life kind of explodes, evolves, grows, and this is so rewarding.
Let's talk a little about your background. What is your training? What work do you do? Who do you work with? Just tell people a little more about you.
I'm a scientist and engineer by education, and I'm a hypnotherapist and I'm a hypnosis instructor. So I combine both the scientific background and working with the mind. And I think I can say about myself, I'm very spiritual. So that's the bridging between science, neuroscience, and also the spiritual work, and using the power of the mind as a hypnotherapist. And I think this is what is so unique and creates the result in such a short amount of time.
I love that. I love fast results. When you came up with the idea for this book, let's see, we started working on this book before coronavirus, didn't we? Yeah. Have you seen changes? I was asking Michelle about this in business, but have you seen changes in relationships since people spent so much time in lockdown?
Oh, yes. It got really intense because the escape going to the workplace doesn't exist anymore. So either the marriage works perfectly fine and the bonding got more strongly, or it spiraled up and it came to the surface, what people had the tendency to cover under the lid. So there was no excuse anymore, no escape. And my clients, and this is very interesting, most of them are male clients. So I work currently much more with men than with women. And they struggle really intensely because they want to solve their marital issues. They want to have a safe place for their families, but they just don't know how.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I think it's interesting that most of your clients are men. Do you find when it comes to hypnotherapy, men versus women are more open to that possibility, or that technique, I should say?
I think that women are much more open. They are much more willing to try. And this is not something you try. You make your decision. You either want to apply it or you do not. And men, they really search for something that can help them at the very end of their wits. So women choose that option earlier in the process, but when men take that step and say, okay, let me do hypnosis, then they are so desperate that they really do it.
I love that. I love that distinction. So I will give you the same question I've given the others. If somebody is thinking about working with the author incubator, what's something you can share about your experience with the team, your experience getting your book done that you would want people to know?
So if someone is thinking about that and contemplating if they should write a book with the author incubator, that's the wrong question. They should ask themselves, why haven't I already? To write my first book, it took me 25 years. 25 years, the book was within me and I knew it, but I couldn't give birth to it. And that process, the process and the team, again, it's both, right? It's the science of knowing how to write a book and the heart of it, the team you have created, you and your team. This, I've never heard about this. It's incomparable to anything I've ever experienced in the world. So if you are contemplating writing a book, that's the time, that's the step. I encourage you to do it with the author incubator.
I know your script for intimacy is the second of many books to come from you. I've got my own request list. So, but for now, get a copy of your script for intimacy, fix your marriage and your sex life. The link is below. While you're over at Amazon, you can find her first book, Your Script for Hope. Petra Freeze, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I am excited to welcome our next author. You will have the opportunity now to meet some first-time authors, or first three authors that you met here on their second book with us. This author, we've been working together for about 5 months, 6 months to get her book done. Her book is called Life After Child Loss, The Mother's Survival Guide to Cope and Find Joy, Peggy Greene. So Peggy, I am delighted to have you here so we can talk about life after child loss. It's a topic a lot of people don't always talk about. It's one of those hush-hush topics, but we're going to put it on the table right now. So much loss is out there for everybody that let's just talk about it all. What is your book about and why did you write it?
Well, thanks, Angela. I am so blessed to be here, and thank you. This monthly author showcase is amazing because all of us have amazing messages to share, and that we're doing it with a heart, and that we're to help people. And so you have brought that to us, and so many thank yous to you. And then kudos to the other authors who are out there and making an impact on others' lives in some way or another. And that's what this is about, is making a transformation. So, here's my cover here. It's a little bit shiny, and, but life after child loss. And the story behind me writing this is that in December of 2018, my son took his life. And 29 years prior to that, I lost a child at 9 months old. And it was, I'm here today, and I made it through the first one. And in between those times, I acquired a lot of tools and resources, which helped me to be able to live a full life. And I found that I went back and tapped into those in order to be able to process it and move through my loss. We never finish and we don't go through it without processing. The journey is never over. And so I've tapped into those tools and resources, and I decided that it's like you said, it's something that people don't talk about. It's that elephant in the room. It really alienates people, even to this day, even talking about my first child from 29 years ago. And I don't want people to have to go through the same things that I did. So it's really about the tools and techniques that I have developed over the time to be able to help me. And I found value in doing that. The book is dedicated to my son, and had he not taken his life, I wouldn't have written this book. I never thought that I would be an author, but I know that I have a story to share, and I know that there's others that can use help in being able to move through their journey, their lost journey, and that I'm here to help them and help them to find their joy again, and that there is hope, that they don't have to be alone, they don't have to be desperate, and that life is.
I know your book is really for parents who have lost a child, but if we as listeners have a friend or a loved one or a family member who has lost a child, what's one of the biggest mistakes that you've seen people make in trying to be supportive? Everyone would want to be supportive of somebody who's lost a child, but what's one of the things that people just get wrong?
Well, there's probably several larger ones, and bless you. There's several, and one is that, losing a child is a unique situation. And as we go through this, we've lost the future, we've lost the hopes and dreams. And so, people try to say that it's going to be okay, and they have different expectations for us to be over it. We're never over it. We move through it. And so it's really about them always being supportive in the journey. And I also find that some people are afraid to talk about what happened with the child. I even talk about it in the book on that whole process. So for me, it's been very helpful when people are open and ask about what happened, ask about my son, ask about my daughter. And so I think rather than ignoring it, I think is one of the big things, because they've lived on the earth, whether it was 9 months, 24 years, or even in the case of, parents. So
Yeah,
we still talk about them.
for sure. Okay, great advice there. If you were to go back 6 months, 7 months in time and give your former non-author self advice about writing a book, what's something you wish you knew, or what's something that you've learned since you've written a book that you think would be most helpful to someone who's thinking about writing a book?
Believe in yourself. This whole process came up really quickly, and I've never thought of myself as an author, and out of it, the personal growth, and I literally am still pinching myself that I finished a book. It's completed and it's out there to help others. So it's really been very amazing what it's taken to be able to do this. Trying something new.
Do you think the process of writing on your own would have been different than writing with us? And if so, how?
Oh, definitely very, very different, because I had decided after going through a year that I would be writing a book, and the book that I have now is transformational, where it offers help and guidance to others, versus the other one would have just been a biography, a storytelling book, which would have been nice. It could have become, a coffee table edition. But this one is, I even encourage people to pick up the book and highlight in it and dog ear it and make notes and use it as a resource. And if I had written the other one, it wouldn't have been that. So this is going to make an impact on other people's lives.
I love that. Super powerful. Great share. And if you are listening and you are wondering, what is the difference between getting your book done and getting a book that makes a difference done? That is the makes a difference piece. It's not just about telling our stories, but telling our stories so that we might help and serve others. I know you're going to do this with your book, Peggy. Do you have the cover right there?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and bring this back up and try to
there it is.
get it. So it really encompasses so much, that some things that my son and I shared, sunrises and mountains.
Love that. Life after child loss, the mother's survival guide to cope and find joy. Peggy Greene, congratulations on your book.
Thank you, Angela, and blessings to you, and congratulations to the rest of the authors.
Yes, for sure. Well, speaking of the rest of the authors, our next author has written a book on a syndrome that was prevalent earlier this year for sure, but in the last 3 months, I think we all have this now, and that is adrenal fatigue. Her book, Goodbye Adrenal Fatigue, the step-by-step healing companion guide, should be required reading for everyone right now. So I'm so excited to introduce you to Carmen Young. Carmen, hello.
Hi, Angela. How are you?
Good. Do you agree everybody has adrenal fatigue now?
Yes, absolutely. When I started thinking about writing, I have never thought, what's going to transpire in the world. And sure enough, 3-4 months later, everybody said that they need this book. So I'm really happy that it's out and that I get to write it.
Okay, not everybody knows what adrenal fatigue is, even though I'm already diagnosing them with it. So let's tell people about adrenal fatigue and who this book is for.
Yeah, so adrenal fatigue is really a fatigue situation where it's pretty chronic, and it's usually caused by stress. It's a burnout situation where in the advanced level, you may encounter hormonal issues and digestive issues and a host of not so pleasant symptoms. But it's really caused by stress and constant need to deal with things and feel like there's heavy weight on your shoulders and that you need to arm wrestle through life and that you're alone in the world, you know, struggling with all that's going on. And it's pretty intense.
What has been happening for you since your book has been in pre-order the last couple months? Have people been coming to you? Do you work with people? How has this book changed your life so far in just the early days before it was even released?
Yeah, so I just announced it, and I think there's a lot of interest in people wanting to find out more about the book and how that's going to help them, because I know that they have an inkling that they need this book or they know someone who might need this book because of what they know, what's going on and how it's impacting us, all of us. So I know that everybody wants to either get one for their friends or their family or want to spread the word.
How do you work with people beyond the book? Tell us a little more about your background and how you work with people.
So I am a certified health coach and life coach, and I'm also a yoga teacher and meditation teacher. And I would like to bring the tools that I've learned in the coaching world and in the yoga world to bring the message to people as to how to combat stress in modern day life, which is pretty rampant. A lot of women, I find, especially, has been suffering with this syndrome, but not really properly diagnosed. And so even if they were, a lot of them are focusing on like physical, you know, ways of dealing with it, like, you know, taking supplements or exercising or sleeping and things like that. But I think there are a lot of really hidden and secret messages in the book to talk about the mind-body connection in terms of how to silence your mind and go into the mind-body connection level to really, you know, find out the inner messages you have in your mind and the thoughts that you have in your mind that could be causing a lot of the inner dialogue that's causing stress. So when I talk to people, I oftentimes talk about the inner game versus just the outer game.
Yeah, and it is, I know your book is really packed with different ways to approach it, because it's not an either or, right? It's both and. You can't just do the inner game. You can't just do the outer game. They really dovetail into each other. I think your book really explores that. What for you has been the best part of being a part of the Author Incubator? Are there any shout outs, editors you've worked with, anyone on the team that's helped you through any challenges, anything you want to share?
Yeah, so I really thank you, Angela, and your team for helping me birth this very first book. I don't think I would have done it on my own, honestly. Cory Hott is a great editor. I have Jennifer, who's done this amazing cover. It's beautiful. Bethany Davis, I believe, is on my team too. I feel like if you or any authors feel like they have a book they want to write and get out there, this is a very good process to go through, because not only are we provided with the how-to writing the book and how to craft the messages, you know, it's also a coaching environment for us, you know, to get out there and really be brave. And we've gotten a lot of community strength through this. And also you guys provide a fantastic project management tool, which, you know, really get the timeline down, which is perfect. I came from a project management background, so for me, that's super. The design team is amazing. The editing team is awesome. So, I mean, it's really like so many backs of trade in one. I don't know how I could have done that all, you know, on my own with all these different specialties that you provided.
I love that. Well, the book is Goodbye Adrenal Fatigue, the step-by-step healing companion guide. It looks like that. Click on the link below next to Carmen's name, Carmen Young. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, awesome. You got a fan in the background too. Our next author is really putting it out there to help caregivers. So many times caregivers are alone and they want to do their best, but they don't always have their tools. So this is the ultimate guide to support your girlfriend with MS, tools and techniques to help her manage multiple sclerosis. Kathy Million, thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, Angela. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here with you today.
All right. Well, we get to talk about a topic that's near and dear to your heart. I know we're going to talk about what's in the book, but first I want to talk about you. What led you to being the author of The Ultimate Guide to Support Your Girlfriend with MS?
Oh, wow. I thought we were going to talk about the book first. I've been through 20 years of a journey with MS. I was diagnosed in January of 2000. And when I was first diagnosed, I was a little disenfranchised with the traditional medical options that I had available to me. And so I began this healing journey, and I really began creating and developing all kinds of tools to really help me manage the symptoms of MS, and even slow and stop the progression of MS. And now I'm working on restoration of the physical abilities that I had lost during the most difficult times. And all through this journey, probably about 10 or 15 years ago, I realized I can't be going through this and not share it with everybody else. Like other people need to know about this. And so I've had this book bubbling up inside of me, that whole time.
And let's talk about the book. Who's it for? What's it about?
So the book is called The Ultimate Guide to Support Your Girlfriend with MS. And it's tools and techniques to help her manage the multiple sclerosis symptoms. And it's very, I really work on integrating traditional medical therapies with holistic therapies, because what I found during my journey was that we are whole beings. And in order to come back to a place of wholeness and wellness in our life, we need to address everything from the emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, and energetic levels. And I believe that traditional medicine, there's a lot to be said about the amazing strides that they've taken in the past 50 years. And even in the last decade. And I think it's really important to get that message out that we need to integrate, and we really need to begin looking at the whole person to come to a place of wellness. We've done a great job with preventative care, but we really need to look at the whole being. And that's what I do in this book, is I provide the tools and techniques that have worked for me. There's hundreds of them that I still use them to this day. And I can tell also that I want to read like Carmen's book and Peggy's book. I mean, there's so many of these amazing authors that I have been honored to be a part of their team, and I can hardly wait. I know I'm going to be busy reading.
Yes. Well, you can get all the books below on this screen, wherever you're watching this playback, it's on the screen. And if you click fast enough, you will get these books for free. You can get them now, read them later. If you know somebody with MS, this is a great book to recommend to them or a caregiver. What do you think the role of a romantic partner or a relationship plays in a chronic illness? Is that a liability for a relationship? Can it be an asset? Can it bring you closer together, further apart? How do you see those two connecting?
That's a very, very good question. And it's a very challenging one. And I think it's kind of like the elephant in the room, like Peggy talked about, that, a lot of times caregivers get thrown into this role, okay, because they love this person who gets diagnosed with this disease. I call it a dis-ease. It's just your body's either at ease or dis-ease. And that's one of the things we talk about in the book, is coming back into a state of ease. And so when someone gets diagnosed with a chronic illness, there's many challenges that need to be overcome. And knowing how to do that is not really that easy. I mean, you can trust your gut instinct, but learning from someone else who's actually been there, done that, I think is a really powerful tool. And that's what this book does, is it gives these powerful tools for caregivers to use in their daily lives to make things better and to be able to really learn to live today, cherish yesterday, and dream tomorrow. And that's another big message that I bring in this book. We have to learn to live in the present moment. When we're anxious or regretful or feeling guilty or shameful, we're either living in the past, or if we're anxious, we're living in the future. And we need to learn to live in the moment. I think our society has become so busy and so many things to do all the time that we're always thinking in one or the other. And it's really a practice that we need to begin to consciously put into our daily routines to live in the moment. And that's kind of what I teach in the book.
Absolutely. Well, you have been doing all three of those things as you've written your book the last 3 months. Any thoughts you have on writing a book with chronic illness, using the difference process, using our team? Did you feel supported? Did you feel like this was something that was a fit for you?
Angela, I just have to thank you so much. I actually began seeing your YouTube ads about 2.5 years ago. I think I saw 4 or 5 of them over that period of time. And one of them had said, everyone has a book bubbling up inside of them, and most people just don't write it because they're hiding. And you had said it only takes 40 hours really or less to write a book, and many people spend thousands of hours, and all that extra time is really just them hiding. And I think authors who have a book that is very near and dear to their heart, and especially something that they have gone through personally and emotionally, it's challenging to come out and really bare our souls to others in order to help other people. And you have really given me the oomph to do that, the backbone, I guess, to believe in myself and to be able to come out and share from a heart level the story that I have to share. And I, even if I just touch one other person and make a difference with one other person in this world, it's all worth it. And especially because of the transformation that I've gone through during this process, you know, that's been really huge. And the whole team has been a huge part of that. And I can't say enough about the difference process. You really have it nailed where it's succinct. There's, to-dos. I didn't have to think about what do I need to do next. You know, I just had to focus on my timelines and getting each task done and moving on to the next one. And I'm also a perfectionist, so that was a huge part for me. I had to just do it and get it done.
And we did it. And there it is. Show it to people one more time. The ultimate guide to support your girlfriend with MS, tools and techniques to help her manage multiple sclerosis, by Kathy Million. Congratulations on your book.
Thank you so much, Angela.
So glad to have you here. Our next author is the author of Plan the Birth You Want Without Fear, a guide to creating your dream delivery. This book couldn't have come at a more important time, with home births at an all-time rise. If you have been thinking about a birth or know someone who has, meet Marcia Muhammad. Marcia Lynn Muhammad, hello. Tell everybody about your book.
Hi, I'm Marisa, and this is my book, Plan the Birth You Want Without Fear. I've written this book for mommies who want a natural delivery, but they're afraid of giving birth in a hospital. And I want them to know that even if you deliver in a hospital, it doesn't have to be clinical. You can have the birth of your dreams. You can create amazing, wonderful, joyous births. Yeah.
So Marcia, let's tell people about your background, a little bit more about you, what you do, how you work with people.
Well, I have been a nurse for over 25 years, and I'm a labor and delivery nurse now, and I've been coaching mommies throughout this process, and I love it. I believe that birth is so spiritual and so connected for everyone involved. And I think that when you connect with the divine in other people, that it enhances the experience. Because all of us during that moment of birth is just pure joy. And so I incorporate Reiki, guided meditation, aromatherapy, and I coach them through the process so that they can have their ultimate delivery. Whatever it is that they want and they dream, that's what I help them to find.
So we know we can't control everything, and there are a lot of people who had maybe a birth planned that got derailed by hospital changes. I know for a lot of people the last few months, they've only been able to maybe have one person in the hospital. They thought they would have their mom and their partner, and they had to pick between the two. When something doesn't go the way you want in your birth, do you have a way that you help your moms with that? Do you have a thought or a technique or a tool that you share?
Absolutely, because we can't control the things around us, but we can control how they affect us, right? We have control over ourselves. So it all starts with the mommy's mindset. So if she is at peace within herself, yes, it's not the group that you thought would be around you during that moment, but you can reinvent it. You know, you can start your process at home, surrounded by all of the people that you love. You can start that process there. And then as you get into more active labor, then you can go into the hospital and have your baby. But you are wherever you are. So if you're centered and at peace within yourself, then you're going to have a peaceful delivery. One of the things that I teach mommy is to focus on their breath, because their breath is the most precious thing that they can give their child. So if they are feeling a little anxious, I ask them to just settle down in their chairs, take a deep breath, hold it in for 4 to 7 seconds, let it out slowly, and then focus on that breath. And when they do that, they calm and they center themselves. And when they're calm, their vitals change, their baby's vitals improve. It really improves the whole process for mommy and baby.
I love that. Well, we all need to be breathing more. Do you have the cover of your book there?
I do.
Let's show everybody again. There it is. Plan the birth you want without fear, a guide to creating your dream delivery. Congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
Get it below. Make sure you find that link. And meet our next author. Now, if you have ever had a baby, there is no one you need more in the room than your angels. So you would love this book. All the moms out there were calling on their angels when you had your baby. This book is called Know Your Angels, Embracing the Angels' Messages and Love into Your Life. Lainey Reed, hello. Tell us about your book.
Well, my book is honestly about bringing angels into your life and knowing that they are actually already with you. And it teaches you, it's kind of a step-by-step guide on how to invite these angels into your life. And when you do that, you start to notice the little miracles that begin to happen all around you. And then you can start to increase your intuition and really live a guided life, And I've been told by people that have started reading my book or have read it through pre-orders and stuff like that, that they're really noticing the angels show up in their life in a big way. Like it's already happening. I believe my job was to write the book and the angels' job was just to show up.
I love it.
I felt.
Have you noticed that with all the chaos in the world that has escalated so dramatically since you started this process, have you noticed yourself relying more on angels and angel messages? Anything that's changed? Different angels showing up, different messages showing up? What can you tell us?
They've just been really working overtime and they're showing up more often. They're showing up stronger. Yes, different angels are showing up, ones that I've never really got into touch with before, but they're really supporting the world right now. And they want people to know they're there and that they're not alone. I think that's like a huge issue because I know with myself, in certain times in my life, I felt like I was alone and they just want you to know so much that you're not, that they're already here with you. You just need to ask them for their support.
So that was going to be my next question. Are there any messages now? It feels like so much is changing so fast. Are there messages that you have gotten from knowing angels the way you do that you think maybe our listeners would find helpful or comforting, or that have helped you?
I feel like their main message is to ask them to join you. So like they will be there no matter, they're already there. You just need to ask them for their support. And they just want you to know that they are here right now. And they come, the angels that I speak about come in hundreds of thousands. And they're not just like one singular angel, they're hundreds of thousands. So when they come in with their support, they're extremely powerful, and they just surround you with this angelic presence. And for a message is basically ask us to come support you. Please, we're here.
So powerful. I was talking to Marianne Williamson the other day about angels, and she was saying the times in her life where she's made the biggest difference or had the biggest impact, it felt to her like she was being pushed from behind by the angels, directed in a clear path. And I think so many of us are looking for that clear path. And this book is just such a great, do you feel like this is an entry point? If somebody has not explored angels, is this book a good place to start? Oh, by the way, do you have the cover there? Let's show people.
I don't, but I printed out a picture.
Okay. Awesome. Know your angels. You'll see the book below. I'm glad you printed it out. Do you feel like this is a good starting point if people are feeling called to work with angels?
Most definitely. It is probably the starting point, because I had no idea how to get in touch with these angels until a devastating diagnosis on my part, and they stepped in so many times that it becomes, you can't deny it any longer. And for somebody that really is getting called, is awakening to the spiritual side or to an angelic presence, or really is very curious about angels, yes, 100%. It will take you through a step-by-step guide where you can to start and where to end. And it really changes your life. It's a transformation. Total.
So powerful. I'm excited for people to find this book. You can get it with the link below. Know Your Angels, Embracing the Angels' Messages and Love into Your Life by Lainey Reed. Congratulations. Everybody needs this book right now. Go get it.
Yeah.
So good. Our next author is back with book number 2. I am excited to share it with you because I know there were some angels surrounding her as she wrote this book. If you've got money blocks, you're going to love Money Blocks, 8 steps to get to your 6 figures in 90 days or less in any economy. Vivian De Guzman. Vivian, I'm so glad to see you here with this book. We need it more than ever right now. Tell everybody about it.
So, Angela, I knew you said to me, it's hard to pivot, but Vivian, you're the queen of pivot during the pandemic. And I was really working with a lot of overwhelmed and stressed out female business owners already, whose main concern is either money blocks, or their money is leaking, or they're chasing money instead of them attracting money, like their clients coming to them. So then I thought, I think I need to write that book because I wanted to give people solution instead of, well, obviously I declutter all the energies that have the drama, the negative emotions and situations, and any triggers that they have. And obviously a lot of the triggers were unleashed during the pandemic and during these riots. So I have been dealing with a lot of that already. And since I can see the body in 5D as a human MRI and a money magnet activator, with all of money in all of our energetic boundaries or aura, it is safe to say that people's triggers through this portal called pandemic were being unleashed. And so they needed some tools to help them navigate this whole landscape and create their own financial economy so that they can have their resilience during this time.
You call yourself the Human MRI. I want to talk about that in reference to money. Tell me if I've got this right. I'm sort of picturing an MRI. I go in the machine, I'm laying down, it scans me, and then there's my body. And if there's, let's say, a mass or a growth or something, they can see, let's call it a dark spot or a light spot or a something spot on the MRI. What is it like to be a human MRI, and how does that relate to money blocks? What shows up on the screen?
So I usually first scan the spiritual anatomy, right? And I can see the physical anatomy as well. So I work on physical, emotional, mental, psychic, spiritual fields. So the first part is the spiritual anatomy, like the chakras and the aura. So if it's not spinning properly and we're not running energies properly, like when people breathe, inhaling and exhaling, and somehow the oxygen doesn't go through those systems, the organs or the cells, then there would be blockages. So it might look like dark spots, like you're saying, or a cyst, because it would concentrate it in one area. So if, unfortunately, money is in all of our boundaries, like I said, the spiritual, our relational boundaries, which is relationship with other people, emotional, so if we have triggers, and then the physical realm, like do we really feel safe making money, attracting money, managing money, spending money, right? So I see the blockages, and when you actually clear those energies and identify the root cause of the money block, because it could be as simple as they're fighting with their spouse, therefore money is leaking. It could be they're holding resentment and grudge for a long time, or some unforgiveness towards themselves. Like a lot of entrepreneurs, we beat ourselves up when we don't do the right things, right? So those cause some interference in our energy field. So if somebody comes in with, let's say, a liver problem, most likely they have a lot of resentment and anger and grudge or irritation or frustration. So any of those degrees can cause a physical dis-ease. So when you start releasing the tension as a human MRI, literally like the avatar that moves the energy, that's kind of what I do. And then, of course, now instead of them working so hard with so much effort, having adrenal fatigue or any other sickness, right, thyroid issues, they can actually now show up and decide, what kind of lifestyle do I want to have? What kind of business do I want to have? So if they want 6 figures, but their mentality is, oh my God, I have to work so hard just to get the 100,000 or whatever 6 figures they want, then that's the reality that will show up.
Makes perfect sense. Well, did we show people your book cover? Here it is, Money Blocks, 8 Steps to Get to 6 Figures in 90 Days or Less in Any Economy, even right now. You know you need this book. As she was talking, I was like, I gotta read this one. I haven't read this one yet. I know your work, but I am ready to read Money Blocks. I think it's a skill we all need to develop. Vivian De Guzman, track her down, get her books. You need to know this woman. Congratulations, Vivian.
Thank you. And thank you, Angela, for your team. I love my managing editors all the time.
Oh, shout them out. I haven't been asking for shout outs but
yeah. So, and Petra Freeze, I love the way she edited my book. And, you know, because I just assume that people got what I'm thinking, right? So to me, they really helped me bring it out in words. And of course, I love deadlines because that's how I work. Otherwise, I'm just going to create more projects and more things to do, right? So I love Nkechi. She's really good at like, is this what you want? Is this what you mean by this? And the story flows so much better. So to me, it's always a work of art when I am writing a book. And I think you're coaching, you're always on point, even if sometimes it hurts, but I have to hear that. So thank you so much.
All right, Nkechi, even if it hurts, she is an amazing editor. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the author of 6 Figure Health Coach. Now, this book is really for health coaches, and it provides the 12-step blueprint to doing the significant, soul-satisfying work that you love. Shauna Maynard. Shauna, this is book number 2 for you. Let's tell people about your business and your books.
Yeah, absolutely. So my business is the Health Professional Academy, and I teach health coaches how to make 6 figures doing their significant, soul-satisfying work. And so this book is 6-Figure Health Coach, the 12-step blueprint to doing the significant, soul-satisfying work you love. And it's so important because most health coaches are making actually nothing. So I kept coming across health coaches again and again and again who had this burning desire to help people. And there is absolutely a need. So these people would help people with obesity, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and these are epidemics for sure. And they really wanted to help people, and these people really needed to find their help, but they weren't finding each other. And so I had these health coaches coming to me and saying, hey, I'm confused. I don't know what the steps to take. And I know exactly how they feel because I was exactly in that position myself. And so I laid out the blueprint for them.
And that's what this book is, 12 steps, 12-step blueprint to doing the work you love. You have been a best-selling author now for over a year. What's the best thing about being an author?
I love being able to get my message out into the world. It is so needed right now. It's always needed. And I feel like when I was a little kid, when I was 10 years old, a neighbor boy came in, he said he was going to be an author. And I remember thinking, I want to be an author. I want to write a book. Fast forward, I became a medical doctor instead, but I still had this desire to write a book. And the great thing about being able to package your message, I mean, have you ever had something that you just wish you could like let people know so they know what you're trying to, so you could explain, so you could share with people what really made a difference? And, you know, nobody's going to sit with you for 3 hours while you spew what you want to say, but you can in a book. You can in a book. And so that was that first book was Free to Heal. And it was an absolute dream come true of mine that you made to be able to like hold a book, like actually like have a book for real. I knew that I could probably write down some words. I could do that. But to actually like, how do you do that? It still boggles my mind. And I know it's a team, and I'll take an opportunity to share and thank the many team on the entire, there's an incredible team that is behind you here in this journey. From Marina, Mariah, Cory Hott. I mean, Cory Hott was my managing editor through the entire thing, step by step, you know, taking me by the hand. And then you've got, you know, Steve and Ramses and Millie and like Bethany, and there's a team. And then of course, at the head of it all, of course, Angela is you. And had it not been for hearing a YouTube ad, in 2018 actually is when I heard that ad, and I thought I have to do this. It spoke to me on a really deep level that it's time. It really is time now.
I love it. Well, I'm so glad it was time for you. Time for book 1 and time for book number 2. The 6-Figure Health Coach, the 12-step blueprint to doing the significant, soul-satisfying work you love. There it is. Link below. Do you know a health coach? Are you a health coach? This is the book you've been waiting for by Shauna Maynard. Shauna, congratulations.
Thank you. I just want to say one thing about the book. It's not about the money. It's not about the money, but you have to make enough money so that it's not about the money. And if you're not making enough to put a roof over your head or food on the table, then you got to do something else that diverts your energy and time and focus. And you're putting your dream off to a someday that never comes. And I see that over and over and over again. And in 2018, I was speaking in front of thousands of health coaches. Deepak Chopra was the keynote. And these health coaches were amazing. And they wanted so much to health coach, and hardly any of them, I'm saying less than 1%, were actually health coaching, and that's no good. So we really, it is possible. And I know how hard it was when I left my medical career to become a health coach. Who the heck does that? It was not easy, and it cost me at least a decade and $100,000 to figure it out. And within these books, I lay it all out. And it was when I was helping health coaches to create their signature program. And one night I was with Marcos, we were working on his program and helping him to get towards 6 figures. And he says, this stuff you're teaching me, it's another book. And I'm like, you're right, it is. And that's this.
There it is. Well, I can't wait to see what book number 3 is. Such an honor and delight to work with you over the last year and a half. We'll see what the future holds. I know there's more books in there for you too.
Thank you, Angela.
So with Shauna's first book, what happened is we went from the ebook, and then we did the print book, and then we did the audiobook. And that is the journey our authors go on. They build momentum, they get their books out in the world. We are launching a bunch of audiobooks today as well. You'll see those links below. And I'm excited to introduce you to those authors. You will see a link for Jody Hatzel's book, Come Alive, Find Your Passion, Change Your Life, and Change the World. You will see a book, an audiobook for Catherine Sherwanka's book, PTSD and a Drug-Free Me. Get real about handling trauma without abusing drugs. Both of those books you will see links to and ways to find those authors. If those topics resonate with you, track those authors down. But for now, it's my pleasure to introduce you to the author of Love Your Body, the ultimate guide to stop making your body a battleground, Janet Farnsworth. Janet, hello.
Hello, Dr. Angela. It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I love your necklace. I love your body. Such an important book. And now on audiobook, what has the journey of this last year been like getting the word out about this book?
Oh, wow. The journey has been everything. It's been such a delight to hear all of the authors speaking and hear the conversations. And, you know, Angela, when you began, you were saying that, you know, some of us who've had a book or an idea or a mission for 2, 5, 10, 20 years, when you write the book, it clears the space for more information to come in. And this last year, having spent 30 years of clinical work, working with women suffering in their bodies, whether or not it's from rape or violence or dissociation or simply, not simply, weight, right? How's that word? Having written the book, having finally kind of pushed out and clarified, okay, I think this is the message that I need to share. I think this is the thing. What it's done is it's freed this incredible space to even get clearer about how I want to deliver the message and what the message actually is, which is, in fact, the second book that I am now writing and inspired by all this, the 2-time authors.
Exciting.
So yeah, it's this year from the birth of the book into this audiobook is the journey of coming home over and over and over again to the true self.
I think people feel before they, and I don't know if this was you, but I know I sense this from a lot of my authors, people feel like they come to me, they want to write a book. As soon as the book is out, they'll feel done. They've checked that off their list. It's like, whoo, got that one over with.
Right. Testify.
I always call it a book journey. It's just having the baby when you're pregnant. You're like, I want to get this baby out. It's not done when the baby comes out.
Right? It's so true. And, you know, that actually has been one of the gems that I've received personally in the Author Incubator. It was really sweet to hear from some of the previous authors, is that done is better than perfect, that doing is better than thinking, and that you just keep producing to create more.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of my great editors, Cory, hello, I love you, was when I was right at the end of the book and I had that, oh my God, this is a piece of And he gave me the great gift of saying, you know, look, have you heard the story about Van Gogh's Starry Night? And I was like, no. He said, okay, just think, you know, this incredible masterpiece, right? Think about if Van Gogh, or Van Gogh, as we call him in Holland, if Van Gogh had completed his painting and then said, hey, listen, everybody, I'm going to go around and I want your input. What should I improve? What should I make better? He wouldn't have had that painting. And it's not ours. No, what's good or what's bad, it's ours to produce. It's ours to be creative. And it is why, for me, this moment on the planet, which I just have to acknowledge, where it feels like everything is breaking apart, where everything that I thought I knew isn't real anymore. Everything that I knew that I could be comfortable in, I'm not. That it is a time of the emptying out, the destruction, that Kali energy, which, by the way, exists in the body, is also the opportunity, as the body knows, you breathe out, there's an empty space because your next breath is waiting to come back in. Your body is brilliant. And it's this gorgeous architecture. It's the literal and the metaphoric, to be in the exact same process which this writing a book is. Yeah. It's like the birth, right? You're scared, you empty, then you wait, and then you've got the container of the body or the author incubator to say, I think your 10 centimeters dilated, it's time to push, or whatever.
And we're feeling the transition now.
Yes. Oh God, yes, right? Just with anyone who's had a baby, it's like you feel like you're gonna die. There is no freaking way your body is gonna be able to do that thing, right? And yet it does.
And here we are.
And here we are.
And here we are. And if nothing else, that is a reason to love your body. And the ultimate guide to stop making your body a battleground. It's now available on audiobook. So you can listen while you walk, listen while you lay in bed and don't feel like reading because the lights are off. Janet Farnsworth, you can find the link below. Janet, congratulations.
Thanks, my love. Thank you.
Mwah. Our next author is the author of The Yogini's Dilemma, to be or not to be a yoga teacher, Nicole Grant. Excited to hear about your journey, Nicole. Tell us about—
Hi, Angela.
Hi, tell us about this last year. Your book is out on audiobook. That's it. We've run the cycle. You got an ebook,
yeah,
an audiobook, you got a print book. This book has gotten into thousands of people's hands. What's the best thing about being an author?
The ride, the whole ride, Angela. Yeah. And it started, 2008, December 2018, when I found you. It was the last thing on my bucket list. So it really, there's sort of a cycle that's being completed for me. The cycle of birth, perseverance, death, rebirth, new vision. So that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
New vision.
New vision. Well, you have been helping yoginis decide whether to pursue a path as a yoga teacher. That seems like a very straightforward decision, but it's about so much more. What's the deeper message inside the Yogini's Dilemma?
It's a love letter more than a message. It's a love letter to my yoga students. To some degree, it's also a love letter to my younger self when I started out on this path of yoga. I remember you mentioning something. You mentioned Maria Rilke and love letters to a poet, I believe it is, or letters to a young poet. Yeah. And one of my favorite books. I've read it, reread it, and it inspired me. You know, I said, this is how I speak to my students. And this is, you know, Lord had mentioned this earlier on in this sort of sequence of interviews, that we need caring. We need caring in this world. And I feel so strongly. I think I got to a point in my teaching, not just in my own practice, but in my teaching of yoga, where I really feel like we have to show up and do the work. We can't do the spiritual bypass thing anymore.
Yeah.
We can't just do the asanas. We can't just do the movements. This is an embodiment practice. If we don't do this work on ourselves, we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't listen to ourselves, we're not going to be able to hear what other people are saying. We're not going to see that our lives are a reflection of what's going on within us. We will not be able to bring ourselves into alignment with our lives and vice versa. So this to me is the yoga practice. Yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuk, which means to yoke, which means to bring together, to bring into harmony, to bring the yin and the yang together, right? So it's not one replacing the other. It's harmonization. So
true.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went to India, I actually married a guy who was Indian. I went to India and I was like, well, it's so dumb, but while I'm here, I really want to take a yoga class. Like I want to take a yoga class in India. And I remember his family thinking it was so funny that I thought it was like a 1 hour exercise class. They're like, this is yoga. Like we're doing yoga all the time. Like it's not a place you go and pay $17, which is what a yoga class was at that time in my life. They're like, you don't just go and pay $17 and walk out and you finished your yoga. Yoga is.
That's it. Which is really, it's actually really funny because right now I'm teaching yoga, live streaming yoga classes online. Like how oxymoronic is that?
Right. It's so funny.
Right. So anyway, yeah.
Well, it is a journey. It's a journey, and you can hear a part of Nicole's journey by getting her new audiobook, Yogini's Dilemma, to be or not to be a yoga teacher. Congratulations, Nicole Grant.
Thank you for all your support and love and caring, Angela.
Yay. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much.
Our next author wrote a book that resonated a year ago, but now I know there are a lot of people getting ready to go back to work and they are wondering why their clothes don't fit. It may be because you have not heard Sue Seal's book, My Clothes Fit Again, The Overworked Woman's Guide to Losing Weight. Sue, we all need this book right now. Now it's available on audiobook, so there are no excuses. Tell everyone about this book.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Angela. It's so nice to see you. And it's such an honor to be with all these beautiful authors. I'm humbled to hear all of their stories and I can't wait to read them. My book.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah. Okay. The Overworked Women's Guide to Losing Weight. I wrote
now we're overworked at home, we're overworked working for home, we're overworked homeschooling, we're overworked cooking. Now we got to add a garden, apparently. We can't go out to eat. Like, what is happening? I was excited about your book before, but now my clothes really don't fit. So now I need your book this time. Wow.
No, you are so amazing. Oh my gosh, but it's true. Exactly what you're saying is, you know, we thought we were overworked before when we were going to work and juggling kids in the house and everything, but we had it figured out a little bit of how we could do everything, but we were still not really putting it all together even then. Now we have the kids at home. Like you said, people are gardening. People are, grabbing food because they're scared. They're fearful. They're angry. It's when your clothes don't fit, there's a shame there too. And what I want to try and do to help these women realize is sometimes we just have to go inside and realize that we are an honor just to have this body. Our bodies are so gorgeous. I mean, if we would just learn to listen to what they're saying to us, I think we wouldn't beat ourselves up emotionally and mentally so much, because I see women all the time that they'll be juggling like you're doing right now, the kids. Like I talked to one lady from Philadelphia just yesterday, and she was saying, now I'm homeschooling my children and they're under the age of 9 and one has a mental disability, and yet I'm still trying to keep the house up. I'm trying to keep my home, my family, my husband, all of the relationships together. And I think we beat ourselves up. And when we beat ourselves up, we release triggers from the past that make us maybe grab for food or grab for a drink, you know, or grab for something to make us feel less threatened or less stressed.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think what happens to us is we release a lot of endorphins and cortisol all the time because women are different than men. This is another thing that's really huge. And if I were just able to grab women at this time, I would say, here we are structurally different than men, metabolically different than men. We handle stress so much different than men. We handle our lives different than men. Like, for example, I always say to my clients, okay, think of a woman's brain as spaghetti, right? She has to touch everything that she's working with in her life. She thinks about the kids, she thinks about the laundry, she thinks about the drive to work if she's late. She internalizes all of that stuff. Now, a man can compartmentalize things. He can say, okay, I think of his brain like a waffle. You know, he's like in these little, yeah, it's square. He's got this little definition of, I'm going to work on this right now. And then when I'm done with this, I'll jump over into my other square. So what happens is we take on all of this and we can't really compartmentalize. And I think when that happens to us, our body starts to suffer just anatomically. You know, I'm a physical therapist of many years, and then I went into becoming an integrative nutritional health coach and a yogi. And what I see people doing is women cannot release the stress, and the stress causes their body to do its normal biological thing, release cortisol so we can handle the stress, but there's always a chronic low stress in a woman's life. And when that happens, we start to have hormonal imbalances. We start to look at food and gain weight just because of sometimes our thoughts. Our thoughts can cause us to even put shame in our body. And, you know, what we think is what we feel. So we have to really control our thoughts, because when we think negatively about ourselves, we will act negatively towards ourselves. So there's one way of looking at it too. If we listen to our bodies, we can find out that we have digestive issues that may be causing.
Now I know what your door chime sounds like.
Sorry.
That's okay. So my clothes fit again, the Overworked Woman's Guide to Losing Weight. It's now available on audiobook. People need it more than ever. You cannot say your excuse for not reading Sue's book is that you don't like to read. You can put it in your ears as you're falling to sleep. And it's a really accessible way to understand and take action and make changes at a time we really all need to focus on our health. So Sue, congratulations. Amazing year, amazing book. My Clothes Fit Again now on audiobook.
Thank you, Dr. Angela. Thank you, Cory and Cheyenne and Tammy and everybody at your place. I just love all of you. And
shout out to a house captain. That's the first time one of our coaches got a shout out.
Her smile is like a beautiful blanket that just wraps you up and says, you can do this. It's okay. So thank you. Couldn't have done it without you. And I encourage everybody to jump on board with you and write a book.
I love it. Oh, thank you so much for saying that, Sue. I appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, it's 3:33 as I'm recording this on the East Coast. So of course, that's when I'll bring in the author of Embrace Your Psychic Gifts, The Guide to Spiritual Awakening, Deborah Sudarsky. It's 3:33. We're gonna play some psychic gifts.
Very magic moment.
I want to talk about this book. There it is. It's so beautiful. I know you've got a second book too. It's hard to not talk about everything with you, but you've been an author for a year. And God, I will never forget the first time you came to my house. This book had just been written and nobody really knew how psychic you were. And this book is such a love letter. And now it can be a love audio file. You will read them the love letter, but such an important message, not just for people who grew up with hippie parents and they were, doing Ouija boards and pulling tarots for the time they were 7, but for people who maybe this is not as familiar. So who's this book for?
Yeah, so this is sort of my story. I never believed that this was it. I always believed that there was something more than meets the eye, that we weren't born and then we died and that was it. And so I had this very spiritual awareness in a very, very traditional family. And so when I had a spiritual awakening, actually channeling a bunch of spirit guides and working as a professional channel when I really just finished college, I felt like two different people. There was this sort of spiritual side, and then there was living in the real world side. And I was in the real world, but I kind of always felt like I was not ashamed, but that there was a stigma, I think, about being psychic and having psychic awareness. And so this book is really written for people who understand there's a spirituality growing within them, but maybe it's kind of confusing or even terrifying for them. And I've had so many people, and it's just so reassuring, tell me that this book actually felt like somebody understood them, because it is scary. Like until the pandemic, it was terrifying, but now everything is off, and I feel like this is like a perfect time for this book to come out.
It's the perfect time for this book on audiobook. What's the best thing about being an author?
So I just have to speak directly to this. So I was in an audience of this, and you were introducing a bunch of guides, a bunch of writers. And I remember I had been trying to write a book for many, many years. And I saw an ad of yours on Facebook. And I thought, oh my God, this is the answer to my prayers. Because I had been trying to write and I could not do it on my own. I thought my guides were going to channel a book and it was going to be perfect and it was going to be finished. And answering that and seeing all these authors that had written books, I kept thinking, I can do this. If these women had been able to do it, and men, I can do this. And your program makes it possible. And it honestly is a dream come true. I've written 2 books with you. It has been incredible. The entire team, everyone's given shout outs, but Bethany, my coach, Aura, Tammy, my house captain, Ramses, who keeps everybody elevated. And especially you're a powerhouse. And working with you guys has been just an incredible experience for me.
Well, we love you. We love your work. We love that this book is now an audiobook, so you can get it from the link below. Another way to consume, let's show them the book again, Embrace Your Psychic Gifts, The Guide to Spiritual Awakening by Deborah Sudarsky. Mwah. We love you.
Thank you.
I've got one more author to introduce you to today. I'm so excited that you have shared our monthly author showcase, met some of our new authors and our new books. And this one is the last I'll share with you today. We will be back next month. But this was well worth waiting for, because there is probably nothing more important in business right now than the art of connected leadership. The Manager's Guide for Keeping Rock Stars and Building Powerhouse Teams. Lindsay Tensing. Lindsay, hello.
Hello. Good grief.
Oh my goodness. You have, in the years since this book came out, you've left your corporate job. You've moved not once, but twice across country. Twice.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So much has happened. Let's talk about, what are some of the results of being an author? What are some things this book has done in the world? Have you spoken? Have you worked with teams? Have you made more connected leaders? Talk about being this author.
Yeah, it's been an incredible ride and journey. I think speaking to the book specifically, I've spoken on stages, I've virtually and live, I've done trainings for people, I've participated in writing articles. It also helped me reconnect with my love of writing. But I think even more importantly than that is the transformation that really comes from writing a book and working with a team and really stepping into, for me, my fullness and my power through this transformative process. It's been, I feel like I've gotten the groundedness and the confidence to be able to navigate all these other things that have happened.
Yeah. And The Art of Connected Leadership, does it make sense now? Has too much changed? Or do you feel like this is still a book that makes sense?
Yeah, great question. I think now even more than ever, it makes sense. You've got people who before you were trying to make physical connections because you're in the same meetings, in the same rooms, you're in the same offices, but now you sometimes are states and countries away trying to work on the same project. So connecting with your people and connecting them with your purpose is even more important as we're separated physically.
Yeah, and we're hearing, I know Google's announced, Facebook has announced that you'll be able to keep working from home. They're going to make that an option in a lot of workplaces. So I really think your timing could not have been better with this book. Now it is available on audiobook. So another way for people to get access to The Art of Connected Leadership. We can show people your book if you have it. Do you have it with you? Yes, there it is. The Art of Connected Leadership, the Manager's Guide for Keeping Rock Stars and Building Powerhouse Teams. Lindsay Tensing, congratulations. What a journey. I am so excited you've had a chance to meet all of these authors today in our monthly showcase. I hope you have learned something and been inspired by them. I actually want to invite all of them to turn on their video now. I want each of you guys, as you are turning on your videos, to be thinking of a word, one word what it means to you to be an author. And I want us to just end this broadcast. I will call out your name and you will share your word. I'll give you a minute to think of it as you're turning on your videos. But what does it mean to you to be an author? A lot of people think it's about fame, it's about fortune, but that's for us not what we're looking for. We're not looking for people with big social media followings, although they'll grow. We're not looking for people that are already millionaires, although we've made 23 millionaires, which is fun. What we are looking for is people like these authors, people who are on a mission to change the world at a time where the world needs that more than ever, and people who are not willing to let anything stop them. The journey won't always be easy, and apparently pandemics and civil arrest and civil movements and a whole lot of drama and moving and people getting sick will happen on this journey. We're looking for people who want to be a part of it anyway, despite the challenges in the world, to say, I want to create and I want to serve. So if you're ready to create and serve, you can go to theauthorincubator.com/apply or click the button you see near this video and you can be a part of this movement. The ebooks are free. The audiobooks are linked below. I'm just going to end this broadcast with all of us together. I will shout out your name and you give me the one word of what it means to you to be an author, which you all are now. I will start with Michelle Hoffman. What's your word, Michelle? Unmute.
My word is authority.
Authority, perfect. Lord Coltrane, what's your word?
My word is self-sovereignty.
Ooh, God, that's good. I can feel that one. Petra, what's your word?
My word is love.
Love. Love, love. Peggy, what's your word?
Transformation.
Beautiful. Transformational authors, all of you. Carmen, what's your word?
I think my word is self-love.
Self-love. Nice. Good for you. Way to get your message out there and show up as the goddess we know you are. Kathy, what is your word?
My word is thriving.
Thriving. Beautiful. Marcia, what's your word?
Inspired.
Inspired and inspiring, I might add. Lainey, what's your word?
Grateful.
Nice. Beautiful. Vivian.
Personal integrity.
Nice. Personal integrity. It's 2 words, but I'm going to give it to her. Shauna.
Empowered.
Empowered. That's true. Empowered and empowering. Janet. Oh, do we still have Janet? We may have lost her. All right, Nicole.
Ownership.
Beautiful. Sue.
Compassion.
Lovely. Deborah.
Authority. That's the word. Also,
All right. We'll take 2 authorities. It is the root word of author. And last but not least, Lindsay.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Nice. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Becoming an author will change your life and the life of others. It can't not. And that's why at the Author Incubator, we always say we're changing the world. Authors, are you ready? Get your books out. Changing the world.
One
book at a time.
Congratulations on your books, everybody.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank